exciting that, oh my gosh, your daughter, oh my God, I'm like, she's been on before. She's been on before. And I'm going to do this. Wait a minute. So, hello, there you are there. And then your stuff kind of going down the bottom.
That's cool. How does that work?
I have StreamYard, but the version I have I pay for, but you can still get it. You do the StreamYard, which is free, but mine with the colors and stuff. So we don't have any people now, but I'm so glad that you can join me. I'm so glad for that. I'm going to send a message to my group because normally, if nothing else, my girls are here, but then it's a couple other people who have conflicting lives tonight, which is okay. So there's that Dresden Avenue. That is Margaret. She is in my group, and but I'm sure other people will be here soon. What is with this here? Ooh, whoop. So hello, Margaret. How are you? This is my daughter Staci. For everyone who is joining, if you have joined, just say hello. Yes, thank you, Margaret. I was about to do that. Thank you. Thank you, Margaret, for posting. As I was typing in, she was like, Leslie is live. So, yeah. So I'm talking about me for a while then until people come on. I got to turn my fan on. So your mother just got monetized, Staci, here on YouTube. Yeah. So I had a problem. I had some issues with AdSense. I had to create a new email because they kept saying I had an old one. And then for some reason that went through. The next day they said denied, and it came back with Thomas's email, which was really weird. So today I did the process and it went through. So now it's being reviewed. Yeah, I've been looking forward to it as well. My daughter literally lives up the street. There's Nikki. She literally lives up the street from me. Like, seriously, it's like a 10-minute walk. And I don't see her. And she and her fiance, they're getting very active in the church, and which is good. I want her to spend her time on things that bring her joy, because we're going to talk about some things today. But I want to find out all things Staci. You would think that because she's my daughter, I would, spend time, but also no, she's doing what I teach my children to do, to go and live your life, and I would love to, at least hear from everybody once a week. She knows that if I don't hear from her, considering she lives literally 10 minutes, a straight line, right, Staci?
Yeah.
So Staci's going to introduce herself. For those who don't know, this is Staci, and she is my daughter. So the rest she can take from there.
Jose wanted to say hi.
Here comes the fiance. Jose, come on, we're live. Yay. Hi, darling. How are you? That is Jose, her handsome fiance. Look at him moving a little bit more. Move on. I don't know what you guys are looking at, because it's look like.
Oh wait, I don't want to.
Here he is. Here he is. Yes, my future son-in-law. I scare him. Hopefully, I don't scare him too much, but he knows I love him. Okay. Bye, Jose. Keep the other way. So, Staci, tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so my name is Staci. I'm 24 years old. Other than Poshmark, I do a lot of social media content, like influencer type stuff. So you'll probably see on the screen my volume. Is it not? Is it good?
Yeah, go ahead. So other than Poshmark?
I focus on like YouTube and social media, like Instagram content creation. And I actually just got an email to do like an interview for a Christian magazine, a virtual magazine. So I'm probably going to be a social media specialist. I have an interview tomorrow, so I'm hoping that goes well. But I also...
So is this a paid job?
It is paid. Some of it's like volunteering. The girl lives in like Southern PA, so it's going to be like mostly online for me right now. But yeah.
Nice. So as people who are joining, this is Staci Turk, better known in the Poshmark community as Peach Boutique. And so you can find her on Instagram, and you can also find her at staci.turk. And my last name used to be Turk. And as you can see, she's beautiful, and she did not get her hair from me, as you can tell. But she is all the things that I talk about, and I hopefully she'll not prove me wrong. She's all the things that I talk about that for my girls, I've always tried to instill everything that I can into them, right? Um, just letting them know how beautiful and how wonderful, how blessed and how gifted they are, and take those things and go with it. So, Glow Girl Glow Nikki says she loves your channel. She and I were talking. She bought, I don't know if you know, she bought one of those bralettes from you. Did you know that was
Yeah,
she got
yeah.
the last one? Nikki and I roll. That's my girl right there. And she's like my adopted daughter. So, Stacy's going to talk a little bit about resale. I want her to talk about a little bit of everything we can fit into an hour.
Yeah.
But then at the end, we're going to talk about some important things. I asked Stacy to come on more so, one, because she's a reseller, but I wanted her to get into like, talk about depression and stuff. So, Margaret, why are you starting trouble? So go ahead. Margaret wants to know what it's like having Leslie as a mom.
I feel like everyone. I felt like this question was coming because I know that everyone in the reseller community makes it seem like it's like this big thing, but like I know her first is my mom. Like for the past 24 years, she's been my mom, so it's nothing that like over the top
Yeah,
for me.
it only gets like over the top kind of when she goes to like the posh and sips and stuff with me.
Yeah.
So like online, it's like she'll probably see my name and things like that. But when we go to like we went to the posh and sip right with the Posh Kings. She got to meet the Posh Kings, and we did. I try to take her as many places as I can locally. I thought that we would do more this year, but 2021 we're coming from for you. And so it's interesting that she would say that. I love that. I love the fact that she doesn't think that I'm any different. But really, I'm really the same person no matter what. You know, the love that I give my children is the love that I give to the community. You know, there's not a whole lot of exciting going on, you know. So that's the thing. It's like, you know, she knows like the struggles. We didn't have like a lot of money. I'm divorced from her dad. So at the time I was taking care of all 5 myself. So it's a lot. So I'm just Leslie. I'm not, you know, I'm her mom, which is, you know, honestly, I'm a fantastic mother. But I did the best that I could. Stacy danced. I talk about Stacy all the time. She came to me one day and she was, how old were you, Stacy?
I think I was like 7
when
we started dancing when I was 8, and I was like,
yeah, she was like 6 or 7, and she came to me one day and she told me that she wanted to dance. Now, I'm pretty sure all parents can relate to their children coming to them and telling them they want to do something in an expensive type of like sport or something, because dance is not cheap.
It's not.
And it's so worked out that coincidentally, literally at the corner of our block, there was a dance school, and they were pretty new. And so we signed up, and I put Stacy in, and then also my oldest daughter, Tyra. All 4 girls danced, but Stacy started this journey off. And it was like she asked me about it. She never really did a whole lot of dancing around the house, and it was like she was gifted to do this thing. It amazed me. By the time she was like, I think I don't know how many years we were in there.
I think the last time I went, I was 13. So that
was
a good 6.
That's amazing. So she, at 7, she just walked into this place and was dancing. By the time she was 13, she was dancing with the company. She was dancing with 18-year-olds, doing these big routines. And thankfully she danced so well. We were getting like scholarships and everything. And then all girls danced to the youngest. And we did these recitals. And that's where I got my special gift of learning how to steam, because you had to steam all costumes. And Stacy was 1 year. Oh my gosh, how many routines
I think I had like this is probably when I first joined the dance company. I was probably like 4 or 5.
Oh my God.
The finale.
And it was like it was the hip, it was everything. And I was like, oh my God. So the parents, they had to volunteer time. We had to help raise money and everything. And then we were responsible for all our girls' costumes. So not only did Stacy dance, but my oldest daughter Tyra danced, Stephanie, my daughter, danced, Sonia danced, and Tyra's cousin Jasmine danced. And because I was there, I said to everybody, oh no, I got it. I'll take care of, everybody's costume. I'll take care of Jasmine's costume. So it's like 20 costumes that I'm steaming. And it's like 4 steamers in the place. We're fighting over these things. So it was so wonderful. She just amazed me. And then the cool thing about it, and I'm pretty sure Lori Tata can attest to it, because her daughter dance one day, Stacy just said she didn't want to do it, and so we have to be okay to walk away. Believe me, I was okay, because financial wise it's like totally okay. You never want to tell your children no, but you still have to have your limits. There were other children, and thankfully this program we were in, they really they even paid for Stacy to come for the summer for free, with the expectation, because I think in the fall she probably would have been a headliner, but she didn't want to do it anymore. And that's the thing, it's having choices and expanding our artistic horizons. So Stacy, tell everyone a little bit about how you got started reselling. I wonder how you did that. Where are you now with reselling? And then we'll go from there.
I kind of just got started from seeing you. Just I think this was around the time when you were just fully going in on it. And then 2 years ago was when I started. I opened up my closet and I actually went out thrifting so that I could resell items on Poshmark. Mm-hmm. And then up until recently, I actually started cross-listing to Mercari. I started a little bit last year, but then I kind of gave up on it. But now I've been selling to Mercari, and that's been working out. And then at the end of February, I quit my full-time job, and that's when I took reselling on full-time, plus YouTube and my other social media platforms. And right now I'm just kind of in the learning process, kind of reflecting a lot. I'm not as active on my Instagram page. I wish I was, but I'm kind of just more reflecting on what I want to do more in terms of my business, because reselling isn't the only thing that makes up who I am. I want to expand and show more about who I am, and kind of just leave more of a mark in this world than just reselling. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, just kind of figuring out different outlets that I can go where I can actually make an impact.
Does that sound familiar, everyone? Yeah, we did not rehearse that. This is not a rehearsed type of thing. Stacy and I haven't seen each other for a while. Is that the guys in your place?
Yeah, they just came out of the shower.
Oh no. Yeah, so let's not have any of that. So I definitely love that. And I've been telling my girls for a very long time, just try whatever it is you want to try, because if you don't try, you never know if you're going to succeed or fail. And I love the fact Stacy gets a lot of her creativity that she gets from me, not the things that she's doing, but that part of who she is. And it's nice to kind of look back on that, because I look at I have a grandmother who's very creative and artistic and everything like that. So I love the fact that she's following her dreams. I just did a video today talking about some of the tools and things that we need in our business. And Stacy, almost 2 years ago, gave me this Nikon camera, and it really was just for loan. I wasn't even, if I can't figure that thing out, let me tell you, it's I showed it because it's the goal was, what tools do you absolutely have to have? So I've been saying, I still use my little iPhone to do everything. My daughter gave me this camera. I do have my ring light on now because I was struggling with light. I was like, I bought this ring light 3 months ago, and it is my light up here, and it made such a difference. But Stacy is such an amazing photographer. She's very artistic. Talk about photography, because I'm gonna tell y'all, she went to school. We're talking, I don't know if Sarah's here, but Stacy was a mathematician. Then she went to school for mathematical sciences, and then decides at the end of her sophomore year, she's just not going back. And when I tell you, I wasn't about that. I was like, you could have discussed it with me. Oh, I want to be a photographer. And I was like, well, the school up the street, look, you got credits in here. You could just transfer them. So she just decided she wasn't going back to school. And so we're here now. So she takes amazing photos, but I want to say hello to some people who just came in. I see Michelle is here. I see Lori Tata. I see Hey Terry, who was involving always. Brunch with Diva. That's Rhonda. I was telling Stacy, I was like, no one's showing up, but that's okay. I was like, normally, if people are going to show up, Siri is over here. I think I'm talking to her. If people are going to show up, it's always going to be my crew. Christy Blocker from Philly is here. Hello, ladies. Hello, people. Droxy is here. For people who are just joining, this is my beautiful daughter. Stacy, yes, Nikki just said her photos are on point. That is because she is a great photographer. She has a camera and she does some other stuff. Yo, guys, hello. Stacy lives in an apartment with
Oh
her
my
fiance
goodness.
and two roommates, and they happen to be men. You guys still have a dog in there?
No, we got rid of the dogs.
Oh, poor dog. Okay, so tell him I said hush. Look, Jose, no.
I told him to be like the referee because I told him I was gonna be on the Zoom call, so I told him to just like keep everyone in check.
Okay, I got
Yeah.
you. Yeah, just kind of, this is real life stuff. So Stacy takes really great photos, and Nikki just said yes, her photos are on point. What got you? How did you get interested in photography?
I guess I've just always been like a very creative person, so I think mostly for me, I like the visual creative world, like with my YouTube channel and like with photography. So I guess with photography, there's just something about photography for me that I just love like so much, and I just kind of like I'm completely like self-taught with YouTube as well. So I kind of just like watched a whole bunch of videos, looked at like I love looking at like different like specs for like camera equipment and things like that. So I kind of just do it just because it's a creative outlet for me, and that's just how I got into it.
Yeah, people are saying she definitely takes great photos. I used to, she knows I used to crochet, so I used to have the business on Etsy, and I used to also do some other things. I used to be in a group. We used to do like some celebrity stuff. If you go to, which is now Leslie Tie Dye Dreams, and you go through, you'll see some older photos. You'll see photos of Stacy, her fiance Jose. They used to be models for me. And then Stacy would take photos of Jose. I would just give her some stuff and say, look, can you take photos of this? Because I needed that. They were my real life models, and I didn't have any men. And I made a lot of men's hat in the crochet business. And Jose has always been a great model. He used to have like much longer hair. So you guys need to go
Yeah, it's cut now.
um, to that Instagram and see, because he used to have like the ponytail and everything. So I love her photos. I love everything about her feed. I don't have time for that because it takes too seriously. I mean, that's not my personality anyway. I was just talking about that earlier. Rhonda had Blake on Brunch with Diva, and then we were just talking. They were talking about. She was talking about YouTube. I literally fake it. I'm faking it until I make it. I'll even I'll even ask Stacy some questions, and she'll tell me some stuff, and as soon as she tells me, I forget it. But then I go to what Daniela tells me, like it's a YouTube for that, so I just go like to YouTube, but I try to say it's organic. Stacy gets a little bit more into editing than me. So let's talk about, you have how many YouTube channels, break each one down and talk about why you started them and whether they're active, which ones are active and which ones aren't as active anymore.
So I want to say four in total, but like three of them that I was more active on in the past couple years. So I had one that I called my main channel, but actually my other channel is kind of my main channel. But that channel I would start like doing more like filmmaking things and stuff. That's where I would talk about like my videography stuff. And then I have a vlog channel with me and Jose, but that hasn't been active since quarantine and stuff like that. We're trying to figure out a way because we're still like we still haven't decided if we want to pick up vlogging again yet. I
Right.
asked him if that's something that he wants to do, and it's up to him if he wants to do that again. But my channel that I consider my main channel now, that's where I talk about a lot of my faith. It used to be like my beauty channel, but because I have more subscribers on that channel, it's where I do like most of my lifestyle stuff. I have a couple vlogs of like week in my life about what I do during a work week, like what it looks like working from home, some working from home tips, like I said, some faith content talking about my religion and stuff like that, and just it's just a lot of things that like make up who I am.
Mhm.
So that's kind of like what my YouTube channels are in a nutshell.
Yeah, Stacy, like I'm not trying. I want to try to get to a degree where I can do like some day in the live. So what I've been doing is just like little bits because it's a lot, isn't it? It's like,
Yeah, it's a lot. I used to do like day in the lives just because it's easier to edit. When I do week in the lives, and that's like 6 or 7 days of like editing that I have to do, I usually have to break it down into days that I had to separate the editing because it takes longer to edit. It's like one clip could be like 40 minutes worth of content. I had to
yeah,
edit that down or like do like a montage and like speed it up.
yeah.
So it's a lot to edit.
Yeah, it really is. I've tried. So I just put because I asked the community what do they want to see, and it's like day in the lives. They want to see me baking and cooking and stuff, and that stuff does take like a lot. Baking, especially baking and cooking, because you have to have like your camera with the tripod on the space, and you want to make sure you get down on everything. But I literally last week started. I was like, okay, I'm going to start with my inventory and just go through the day. I released that inventory video. That's it. It was too much. I just couldn't, So it's like, but that was good. It's already has like a lot of views and people are interested in that. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to stay in my lane and do what works for me and just give out a little bit of content. And I just became monetized, but I looked at YouTube just before I got on with you, and I was like, oh wow, I have 191 videos. So by next week, my goal is I'm just going to try to just do it even 200 before I get to November. So that's pretty cool. So Nikki says, I actually went to one of Staci's videos with her sister. They were so young then. The growth is amazing. That was Stephanie.
Yeah, it was with Steph. It was. I don't remember which one specifically, but I did a couple with Steph. I mostly did like videos with Steph. Sonia might have been in one of them, but Steph was like easygoing, so she
Yeah.
wanted to do videos with me. But yeah, I watch a lot of my old videos, and I think I watched a couple with Steph like a week ago, and it's just so different. Like
How long ago was that, do you think?
I think I think I was like 19, I think. So that was like when I was
Wow.
still in college.
That's amazing. Yeah, she was in her sophomore year of college. That is crazy. She's going to be 25 soon. These kids are making me feel. It's like Lori said. Lori Tata. I don't know if you follow Lori. She is co-host of Thrifters Villa with Daniela, who's Ivy and Blush Bottega. I went to Massachusetts and met them. So I don't know if I've talked about Lori, but Lori just hit 10,000 subscribers, and she's all reselling content here on YouTube. And so, but with Lori, I love using Lori as an example. I love using myself as an example. The young people have a little bit more kind of going on than we do. Not saying we're old, but they start off. They start off with the thumbnails. They start off with the editing, whereas we have to kind of make it up. So if you go all the way back to Lori's initial content, you'll see that she just kind of worked her way. And I actually see the progression. I learned a lot. I was like, oh, Lori's putting like a picture up there. Let me figure. And I had said to Staci, how do I get a picture? And she was like, this is what you do. And I was like, you know what? Let me just go to YouTube. So the video that I did today is nothing but pictures. It shows all the stuff. I talk about all the products that I use and I put everything up. And so I love it. But editing is a lot. It really is. There's Quimby. Quimby is the Grateful Queen and the Grateful Therapist here on YouTube. I saw another question up here from Dresden Avenue, who is Margaret. And she wants to know your favorite place to source. She already knows me, so she's asking you.
So my favorite place to source, it was actually the bins. I like going to the bins, but I haven't been to the bins since the quarantine and everything. So I'm actually planning to go back probably in like a month or so just to check it out and see how everything is.
Yeah, and Staci moved. Her last apartment was 5 minutes away from the bins. Yeah. And she's been going, I tell this story all the time. When I married Thomas, we were already going to the outlet. It wasn't like it was this new place. So once we became resellers, then we transitioned to that. But I would give the girls a cart and they would just go and buy stuff for school. So that was something that they did before I was reselling. Like I've been with Thomas for 9 years. I started shopping at the bins 8.5 years ago, and I didn't even know it was the bins because I've only been a reseller for 4.5 years. So that was just part of our, buy cheap clothes, right? And so where else do you source since you haven't been to the bins lately?
Just the regular Goodwill sometimes if I find like really good stuff, sometimes Plato's Closet. But the majority of stuff that I've been listing has been stuff that you've been giving me. So like I just never run out of like inventory these days.
Yeah, the cool thing to have your mom, who's a Jomar affiliate, and she's like, "Yeah, I don't feel like listing this. Let's give some stuff to Stacy." Well, and that's like the thing. It's like with when you're an affiliate, people who are affiliates know that. Like, not when it comes to it's a difference between a paid gig, and an affiliate. Affiliate, you get a percentage, or they just give you a gift certificate. So imagine if I make $200, that's just a gift certificate because I got to figure out how to spend it. So I'll go in and buy some stuff, and I'll take a little bit of what I need. I'm not trying to overwhelm myself because I just streamlined my business, and I'll give some stuff to Stacy. Like I'm waiting. I'm going to be getting a new box or something soon. So that's the cool thing. I give stuff to Stacy. I have some men's stuff coming for Thomas, and I'm all about sharing. Like, she came that day, and I was like, I was like, oh, I have like two things for her, but then I was like, you know what? I don't feel like listening to stuff.
And then ended up
She
going
does
home
really
with a
good. So
big
like,
bag.
I don't think anybody asked this question, but what type of inventory do you sell? What kind of items do you sell?
That's not hard. Mostly just like young adult fashion.
Yeah.
Basically, anything that I would wear is like a lot of things that I like to sell. I try not to do so much for accessories because they don't like move as fast.
Yeah.
But just like pretty much like trendy items. Basically, I like to sell tops more than anything because they're what sells faster for me. So
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll keep that in mind, because XO Rachel actually is here in Philly now, and she's at Jomar because I think
yeah, I saw that.
yeah, the young lady who runs it, Jessica, is sick, so Rachel's taking over because Rachel is one that she works. She's in partnership with them. So I was watching her as she was releasing some stuff and asking what should she release, and as I'm like, my goal is to only use my affiliate money, not to use anything else. So I'm like, okay, people, I just need $20 more. I just need $20 more so that I can shop. But then I'll go, $20. I think I could probably, it is because that's what happened the last time. I was like, $20 more. I think I could probably do it. And then I went and bought like the Vans Converse box, and I've already like sold tons of that stuff. So it's amazing. But this is funny right here. Cara's Garage. She says, hi, Michelle. Wow, the same people here as last night. The place to be. This is my tribe. This is my tribe. And thank you for joining us tonight. Let me, so I see you have a lot of questions. People have a lot of questions for you. Okay, Christy is from Philly. I don't know if you met Christy. I don't think you met Christy. You're gonna have to meet Christy. Christy lives in our old Germantown neighborhood. You guys used to actually walk by her house to go to Henry. So, so I think it's hysterical. And I did not meet her until I went to a Posh and Sip in Philly. So that is amazing. And she says, do you use your Android or iPhone to take pictures? If so, what apps do you use for editing?
So I use my iPhone because that's what I have. I also use my iPad, which is what I'm doing this call on. I just like the camera. I could use my regular camera to take pictures, but I just choose to use my iPhone. It's easier. And then for editing, I actually use like an app. This is the same app that I use for like my personal Instagram. It's called Teza. It's a paid app on the app store, so it's gonna cost money. I think it's like $4. For me,
What's
it's
the name of the app, babe?
Tezza, so it's Tezza, and
Okay.
so it's a editing app made by like an influencer that I used to follow on Instagram, and she has like a lot of like vintage style photos, so you can kind of get like that kind of look. That's the app that I use for like my Instagram posts, and I also use that for my cover photos on my Poshmark. And then you could also edit like videos. So if you're like on TikTok or you do like reels for Instagram, you can edit like your video clips, and it'll have like the filter on there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I use for um, just editing the pictures and stuff.
Okay, so I'm gonna go back up, but this one happens to be here because we were just talking about filters. So Lori says, your Instagram, what is your Instagram secret? Your preset is so pretty. Did you create your filter?
So yeah, I just basically use the same app, the Tezza app. So it's Tezza, and it's $3.99, $4 if you want to invest. I think it does have like some free filters, like you can use it for free, but I think to like actually use some of the other filters, you have to pay, and it's not a lot. It's $4 a month. I think it's like $30 for the whole year or something.
Yeah.
It's a good investment for me because I use it on all my Instagram platforms as well as my
Mhm.
Poshmark. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yes. So no, Christy is correct. Yes, you met Christy. She came with her sister Jackie. They were at the paint and sip. Thank you,
Yeah, I
Christy.
remember that.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Christy. Thank you, Christy. Because there's no way in which I can't remember.
Like I
Um,
feel like yeah, I feel like I remember the name.
yeah.
I was like when you said the name, I remembered,
Okay.
and then when you said that, that's what made me remember her.
And so, Quimby, the Grateful Queen, what do people your age think about thrifting and reselling?
For my age, I think it's very normal, especially with the style that's coming back. Because I pay a lot of attention to like fashion and stuff. Like a lot of people, especially like Gen Z and like millennials, they go to like the thrift store to get their outfits and stuff like that. And people on social media actually talk about like secondhand fashion a lot more than like what I see a lot of other people talking about when it comes to fashion. Like you would expect someone to have like high end fashion, but you can get like the same looks secondhand these days, and people are really like talking about like saving the environment and stuff like that. So I think people my age are actually talking about it more than any other generation that I've been watching.
And one thing is, Stacy and her siblings were raised in the thrift store. When we lived in, like, speaking of Christy, when we lived in Germantown, all up and down Germantown, we would literally walk and go to the thrift store. That was like one of the things that we did. I didn't have a lot of money. So that was, remember that state? That was one of the things that
Yeah.
I did. And we would go like early on a Saturday and we would walk to the thrift store and, little stores in between Murray's and different places that we would go, but I raised them on secondhand because I just didn't have money. And one of the reliefs is when they did go to school and they had like the uniforms. I was so happy about that. So many parents were fighting. I was like, that's fine with me. So they had uniforms, and then it was such a relief where I could have clothes for them. And I always say to myself, now that I wish that I knew about reselling back then, because at the time I didn't know Thomas. So but yes, that was a normal thing. Even when I was growing up, that was just such a normal thing to do, to get, secondhand clothes. It's great stuff in the thrift store. I would love to go into the thrift store and find the shoes and the different things they needed. So I'm glad that Stacy thinks about that now. I mean, of course you can get into newer tags and things, but I really like clothes, giving clothes a new life and a
I
new
was
home.
actually thinking about that like earlier today. Like I look at like my wardrobe and I can't even like go into the store now and like not think about like getting something secondhand versus like me walking into Forever 21, which is my favorite store. Like I am like less tempted to buy something now because I'd rather just go to the thrift store or go to Plato's Closet and like
Yeah.
get it secondhand, and that's just kind of like my thought process these
Yeah,
days.
yeah, we were in like last week we went to the mall. So we just went and walked around Nordstrom, and I just was really like, I hear so many people. I said to them, my youngest was on a job interview, so I said to Stacy and Stephanie, let's just go. But in there I'm going like, yeah, nothing's looking
Yeah.
nothing. I mean, so many people talk about good deals and stuff, and I'm just going like, yeah, I'm good. That's clearance. That's still a little expensive.
Yeah. I was actually engaged the other day and I was looking through the clearance stuff, and even some of that stuff I was just like, I don't really want,
Yeah,
especially because the stuff in Gabe's, they only like mark down like $1 or $2 for some things, and it's not like, that
yeah.
serious.
Yeah, I've done that before. We were talking about a store here was it's like retail arbitrage, and it's just like not worth it. In some instances, I think for a lot of people that would work if you're considering sending things to ThreadUp or whatever. Have you sent any items to ThreadUp?
I have. They're still like in the process of being processed. Like I just like send things to ThreadUp just to like get rid of it, like not have it. Like things that I don't want to quite send to the thrift store, but things
Mhm.
that I won't like take to Plato's Closet, I'll just send to like ThreadUp.
Wow. Yeah. So Margaret says she's not that much older than kids tease her for buying secondhand. But it is a pain. It's what can you do? And then right underneath that is Quimby. She says she's 44 and many of her friends think it's weird and would never thrift. Hey, their loss, our gain, more stuff for us. That's the way I look at it. You know, let's see. I saw. Oh yes, Chrissy. Chrissy said this is the one we're talking about. I missed the big one near Germantown and Shelton that took up the whole block, just like one of Germantown and Lehigh. Oh my gosh, the one on Germantown and Lehigh, that was, we're just talking neighborhoods in Philly, but Germantown and Lehigh, that's been around. My mom, we used to shop there when I was a child. So that was amazing. And it is sad that a lot of these stores are closing. But yeah, Germantown had like two consignment stores and tons of thrift stores. And the kids and I, we would just like go in, and then it would be like dollar days. It would be like fill a bag days. I loved it. You know, thank you, Lori. I just said one day, just said, let me do it. And I love pink. I love bright colors. And I literally, even with my, I just went through, I did a second thumbnail change because the one I had, I liked it, but it was a lot going on. It was a kind of busy. So the one I have now, how did you like that thumbnail, Stacy?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's really simple too.
Yeah, it's I just all it's just I just said I just played around. I designed that color because you know the it's Canva and just moved it until it looked played it. I was like, I really like this one, and I just keep it open on the page and just go ahead and change it. So the views have gone up and all kinds of good stuff, you know, monetization and all that good stuff there. Let me see. Yes, I agree with you, Christy. Christy said, unless you find something for a penny at Nordstrom, but who has time to go through the whole store?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, and I actually did a lot of filming, and it's so funny, Stacey, that I was like, you know what? I don't feel like putting this out. I put a couple out in my stories, like Ryan commented, like those boots that had the rainbow frizz all around it. But it was about 50 pairs of shoes that I just went through this Nordstrom and DSW. And then when I got home, I was like, don't nobody want to see all this. Because my goal was to put it in the video. I'm like, why am I putting it in the video if I didn't buy anything? You know? So I just said, forget it. I said, forget it. Don't even worry about it. So Stacy has, she's been doing a lot of different things. When she was young, I didn't realize that she was going through some different things. You know, you're in a family of 5 children, right? Her dad and I were getting divorced and going through some stuff. So I didn't realize that she was experiencing some challenges in school or in life, you know. And the reason that I talk about that is because, not saying I'm not the best person, but I was a pretty decent mom as far as I know, right? But even if you have a parent who really loves and cares about you, there's always going to be something missing. There's always going to be something within inside yourself that you could be missing. So you have to go search for it. And I know all about that. You go searching and you go searching for love and it's not there, or you go searching for something. So we all need something. So I didn't realize that she was going through some challenges when she was young. If you want to talk a little bit about that, you don't have to get that deep into however far you want to go.
I mean, I guess like growing up, like just being like a very shy and introverted person, it just kind of like was hard for me to like just even connect with people my own age, and like even now getting older. So I guess when I was younger, I felt like I was like alone, or like I couldn't reach out to someone, or like when you're young, you have like this mindset where it's just like, you know, my parents will understand because like they never experienced being young. Like obviously now that I'm older, like it's easier for me to talk about this. And but like when you're young, it's like hard for you to even think that your parent could have ever like experienced like what it was like being a child or being a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
So like probably around like when I was 13, I started like having a lot of like um just identity issues and really trying to figure out who I was as a person, and that really affected like my mental health. And I started like going through a lot of like depression issues, just connecting with other people. And then I also developed like anxiety, a lot of like mental health stuff. And eventually it came out like the wrong way. Eventually I did like talk to someone about it, and they actually reached out to my guidance counselor, and then my guidance counselor reached out to my mom, and it just blew up into this big situation that I didn't want to, but I'm kind of glad it came out at least, because that was what started me to actually start having a conversation and start actually talking about what's going through my mind, and actually eventually like even now just sharing like the struggles that I went through when I was like going through that. And I'm still like dealing with mental health, because something that I've learned over the years is that mental health doesn't necessarily go away. You can treat it depending on if you're the type of person that needs to get medicated. Luckily for me, I've never needed to get medication. And then I'm also just lucky that I did grow up in a family, even though I did feel alone. I did grow up in a family where I had a lot of siblings. I had really supportive parents, even if they weren't together. They raised me in an environment where I felt even though I felt alone in my own child bubble, I wasn't truly alone, and I could still like be around them, even if I didn't tell them like what was going on in my own head.
Yeah, I can't. Well, one, I can totally understand what it was like being a child. I tell y'all that, like, yeah, I was that age. Like, even your youngest sister, she's the one
Yeah. Oh my
who
god.
had my day. So I'm like, I was 14, I was 15, I was 16, I was 18, and really, if I slowly start peeling layers back as the girls go through things, that's when I become transparent with them, and I go, oh wait, by the way, I did go through what something similar. That's when a lot of parents don't want to, be transparent and let their children know that they went through things. But you have to wait until your children are at that point where they need to hear it and when they're old enough and mature enough to hear it. And so by the time I was 24, that's when I was having Stacy. I was married and having Stacy at 24, the age that she is now. So I went through a whole lot of stuff, but I can't even imagine from Stacy's perspective, because I did go through my things. As a parent, it hurts you thinking that your child was suffering or going through some things and they didn't come to you, whatever. But then the other part of it is I had so many children, so she probably felt alone because it was five of them, and you have one who has, I didn't know what was going on with Steph at the time. And then Sonia is born with hydrocephalus, so I can't even imagine how lonely she may have felt in a household of people. I used to, when I was young, my brother died when I was 6, and he was my best friend. So from 6 on, I felt like I didn't have anyone. I did have cousins and stuff. So I always used to say, if I just had that one best friend, and I, as a parent, would think from, oh, Stacy's got siblings. She's not going through anything. But again, she had a challenge in school. It got back to me. And I was like, wow, I was totally blown away that she was going through some things and not revealing that. And the reason that we're talking about this now is because she still experiences some things, and I always, my thing is, what I tell people is, please check on your people, check on people every day. And she always knows that I love her. And I told her that I'm here. Um, Please, contact me. We definitely want you to, get some help or anything like that. And I'm not talking her specifically as going into a thing, like other people too. The main thing, especially what Blake was saying last night, is check on people. The people that you always think are doing well. Oh, that's the strong one. They don't have any problems. You should be checking on them. Like, I have good friends here who check on me. Lizette checks on me. Wendy checks on me. And it's like, Wendy will be like, oh, I haven't heard from you. Normally when Wendy hasn't heard from me, that's just because I'm deep into the business thing. I'm like, what is my next project? So that's what's going on with me most of the time. But I love the fact that I have people who are willing to check, and they're not going, well, Leslie just, she don't have, no, she don't need anyone, So I want Stacy to know that I'm always available. And I do tell my children realistically, like, one day I'm not going to be here. So take everything you need now. I'm in advisory mode, right? You come to me advice. The parenting is done. Stacy doesn't live here. She has a fiance. Yeah. I'm trying to get these last two out of here. But she knows that she can come to me. But it goes beyond that, because as a person who's 24, they need more than their parent, And so I love the fact the first thing that you were doing was you got yourself a life coach. And from there, what have you been doing? Let's talk about the life coach thing and the things that you were doing, because it is like in your videos. You guys can go check out Stacy's videos. We'll put everything in the comments once this is released, so you can go in and click on everything. But go talk about, like, what got you to your life coach, some of the things that you learned there, and then we'll go into that second phase of something that you're doing right
Yeah,
now.
so I found my life coach on Instagram. He was just like kind of just, I was already following him, and he was just kind of like talking about like what he did. He focuses on like self love and like healing from like inner, like past childhood traumas and things like that. And the program that he does is like a 3-month program. So I started in May, I think. I think I started in May, and then I finished at the end of July. and I was just working with him, and he had like this course that we also went along with. But the cool thing with the program was also that there were other people going through it with you. So like there was always people that I would like reach out to and like talk to in that group that were going through like similar things, struggling with similar things, had similar upbringings, had similar like parent issues, or like had a parent that wasn't very like active in their life, and like I could always like reach out to them. So then after that program, I've just kind of just been working on like myself and making sure that even if I even think about getting to a place like that, like I can still put those things into practice. Like I still have access to the course and everything, and a lot of the practices, and I still have those people that I actually talk to still. So kind of just building that support system with them as well. That's just kind of like everything that this course, talked about.
Well, first of all, I think that's wonderful. I am myself working on something similar for the community, not necessarily resellers, but just to kind of put out there. I just became certified as a life coach, so I just stuck my certificate up there. And not that you don't even need to be certified as a life coach. I already consider
Yeah.
myself to be a community builder, a motivator. I just got that because I wanted to. We're right now in the pandemic. What else to do but take classes and educate yourself and grow? I'm doing a nutritionist course. I'm almost finished. I'm doing something else. I've a total of 8 courses that I've been working on. But I am coming up with a program, and mine is more empowerment, because now as women, we still have those hurts of being young, you know what I'm saying? Or we still, even though we're married and we're moms and whatever, we don't have the validation. So I have a program that I'm working on. I actually started outlining it, and it's going to be available soon. And we're going to be doing like, our Zoom chats and all that other kind of stuff. So everybody here will get information about that too. But yeah, you don't need a certificate in order to do that. But I'm so glad that Staci shared that, because when some people were like, oh, you're going to a coach, but you have to do what works for you. You have to do, and the other thing is you try it, because that might not specifically be the coach. You go through the program, and that might not be the person for you. You might work better with a female. You might not be a person who can relate to a man. And you want somebody older. You want somebody younger. That kind of thing. Someone more like a friendship kind of thing. So we all should have someone that we're gravitating to that is going to help us find out who we are inside. So I think that's beautiful that she is doing that. Let me just go to the comments and see what I'm missing. Yes, yes, definitely communication is very helpful as you go, especially with parents. And I think that I would hope that I've always created a space where the children can come to me. I think that one of the biggest things I always told them, it doesn't matter if it's going to hurt me or whatever, I read you talk to me about it. That's the thing that's more important to me than anything else. Best advice I can give anyone, no matter the age or the situation, is to go within, be quiet, and find out what's true. I believe that as well. Let's see. Wendy says it's hard because our children aren't always comfortable telling parents what is going on. But as parents, we always want to know. If we don't know what's wrong, we can't help solve the problem. Yes, indeedy. Okay, so you guys are funny. Okay. Okay, so oh, that is so wonderful. Thank you so much. Yeah, this is an amazing community. Seriously, I think it's totally amazing that everybody in the community is so uplifting, so wonderful. And that's another thing. It's good to even try to find a tribe. Staci reminds me a lot of myself. It's funny. I always tell this story. Like when I met Thomas, he was like, "Gosh, your children are so quiet. Is it just me?" I'm like, "Nope, they're quiet." Like, and then so when we got to the point that he brought his girls over to meet me, even at the door before I even opened the door, they're like loud and talking and everything. And I'm like, and then like they're just sitting around. Like even at a point like Staci couldn't even like connect with his daughter, who was like the same age as her, because they're just different people, and so emotionally they're at 2 different places. So that becomes like a challenge. But she's very much like me. I'm an introvert. I don't have a lot of friends. I like my little space. I do want to go out and do things like we're going to talk about what she and Jose have been doing lately, which is just a beautiful thing. She actually reminds me of myself so much. All the stuff that they're doing, just don't get burnt out. Um, but that she does remind me of myself, where I go and then now you go out for a couple days, now you're back in your safe place, because it's like after a while being around people does become a lot. So lately, you and Jose, what have you been up to?
We've just been, well, he's mostly working and stuff like that, but
Yeah,
like we've
Jose, my
gotten,
future son-in-law Jose, he works for Amazon, so we want to give that to him, going out there.
especially during Prime Week,
Oh my
like
God.
all my roommates work
Telling us,
for Prime,
look,
for
man, you
Amazon,
better get
so
that money. You better get that money. I know it's a pain, but that money was deposited, right?
yeah.
Hey.
But no, we've just been super involved with our church lately. Like we've been serving a lot of, well not a lot of. We've been looking for like more serving opportunities, getting more involved with like our church groups and really connecting with like more people that like share our faith and everything. And we're just growing, going to church more, and just the normal things. We don't really do a lot. Like I don't like to like my church groups are all that I can handle in terms of like social interaction, and
That's
that's
what I was
twice
saying.
a
Yeah.
week. So
Yeah.
like, and
That's exactly what I was saying.
they asked me too because like they know that I'm like more like reserved and stuff like that. Like I'll still like communicate with them while I'm there and stuff like that. But they notice they're like, oh, like you're so like quiet and everything. Or like they like check up on me and like make sure I'm okay. And I'm like, this is just how I am. Like I'll
Yeah.
still like engage in conversation and stuff. But like overall, I'm just like this is just there's nothing wrong. This is just
Yeah.
me.
Stacey has always been that way. I remember when she was in school, like I love the fact she made some really great friends. And her teacher was saying to me, like, I would go to a parent meeting, and she was like, yeah, we have a problem. She's not talking. And so the problem is what? So what about the other kids in the class? Like Stacey literally is an A student. She was in the gifted program. She had an IEP for that. She was in the gifted program. We went to the ballet and all this beautiful stuff. And she had to, a separate program from her class. And she went to a scientific school and got accepted into a scientific school in the city of Philadelphia. Very gifted young lady. But the teacher's like, she's not talking. And I probably understand it from a teacher's perspective. But I'm like, she's probably like quiet because when she go home, it's going to be 4 other kids there. But she was good in school. So my thing was like, I had to be that advocate. To me, there had to be a balance. Like, why are you worried about this one who comes to school on time? She's not a problem. And you got all these other kids. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what about the kid that's bullying my kid because she's quiet? So like, stay over there. And so she's always been that way, and I can relate. So my mother had to go through the same situation where they're like, she's quiet, and same thing. It was like that just came to me, and when I think I was in like, I think I was in 5th grade at Henry. We went to the same. My children and I went to the same school, elementary school. It was a K through 8 school, CW Henry. Yay! And my mother, same thing, and then she was like, "So what is the problem?" But another thing that I love what Stacey's doing is she is about community. That's a really important thing for me about giving back. So if you can't get out, find a place that you can do something in, an organization. And so church is such a great place that you can get involved, and you can join ministries that are age oriented. So I think you're in it, and then I think Jose's in a men's group or a gamer group or something like that.
Yeah.
So they're getting really creative for people in the community to kind of branch out and make friends. And that's really smart of them to do that. So I love that. And the fact that, because what did you guys do a few weeks ago? What did you do? Did you give some food away or something? I forgot what you did. You guys went.
So the serving opportunity that we did, it was prayer for the lost, and it was basically we worked with a organization where a lot of people have struggled with loss with someone who was like lost their lives to addiction and like drug overdose and stuff like that. So we basically went to this event and we just prayed for people, and we like just talked to them and got to know them and just kind of like shared encouraging words, invited them to
Nice.
the church, just kind of like uplifting their spirits because a lot of them like really lost a lot of people. A lot of people lost like kids and like a lot of like things that happened because
Yeah.
of drug. And some people had come out of like AA and stuff, and they
Mhm.
were just kind of talking about that. So that's what we did, and it was a candlelight visual. So they had the little like battery powered candles, and we lit those and stuff like
That's
that. So it was
beautiful.
really
That's beautiful. I'm super proud. If you guys don't know, I'm super proud of all my children. I talked to my son today. It's other great, but I'm super
nice.
proud of all my children. They're to me, they're amazing, and I'm not ashamed to say that. It's important to lift up our children, and it doesn't always have to be a financial legacy that you leave behind. Your children should be able to remember you with everything that you left. It shouldn't be a feeling of my parent was just the worst parent or whether it should be something that when you're gone, that memory is fills them in such a place that is going to have to sustain them, and hopefully I've done that with my children. I think they're amazing humans. I really do. And I'm super proud of everybody and all their accomplishments. But Wendy had a question. Wendy's a good friend of mine, Stacey. You have to meet Miss Wendy. Stacey, what are your and short-term goals for reselling?
um, I don't know if I had like specific. I know I wrote some down, but I don't know all off the top of my head. I have to write everything down. But short term, I would just say just expanding and like making sure that I'm growing the same on Poshmark as I am on my other platforms that I've been processing on. So just building up those, and then long term, kind of just trying to get out of reselling.
Sounds like
And
her
like
mother.
I mean I love the reselling community and everything, but I do have a lot of ideas for what I
Yeah,
want to do outside of
yeah.
reselling. So maybe even like making my own products, like how you make like tie-dye stuff, probably making my own. Like I've been talking about this for like a couple of years now too,
Mhm.
so kind of just really figuring out what exactly I want to sell outside of like reselling.
Yeah. Yeah, she sounds like me. I feel the same way because Blake and Rhonda were talking about this earlier as well on Brunch with Diva. If you guys didn't get to see that, check out the replay on Rhonda's YouTube channel. But it really is. It's not like all about reselling. We happen to be in a community that's identified as reselling, and I love everything that the community has brought for me. It's actually created like an amazing platform, but I'm taking everything of who I am and wanted to move that on because I have a 2-year goal of no longer having any physical products. And so I really one of the reasons that I hold on to it is not the other platforms. I love how more so social Poshmark is as a whole. Because just in 2019, right, Stacey, we were posh and sipping. We were having a really great year. And I wouldn't want to let that go. So I probably would sell some shoes just to say,
Yeah.
I'm a Poshmark seller. So into 2021, maybe 2022, that social aspect will continue. And you can also build your own community because I've already started a community. I'm not even in North Carolina, and I already started a group and I want people to join. So if you're in North Carolina or in the surrounding areas, I want to start meeting once a month and having tea and coffee. If someone needs a friend or something, that's what I'm trying to build because we're here in Delaware and Stacey can tell you it is so boring here. It's
Like
not a lot going on. We're
you gotta
Philly people.
drive to get
Yeah.
to anywhere interesting.
Yeah, it's nothing going on. You step outside and go, oh yeah, it's the same neighborhood, and then
Yeah.
that's it. It's literally, I mean, where the University of Delaware is right up the street. Stacey was a student there, and that's like fun. But like as a person my age, when you go to the main street, you really can't have any fun because it'd be a whole bunch of college students. Now you can go, but I'm not trying to go into any restaurants. So she sounds like me, and I think it's okay to have a dream outside of that one thing that you're doing. You take that and you grow from it because you're learning business, you're learning photography, you're learning customer service, you're learning how to talk within the community, and now you're building this platform that's totally amazing. I already thought you were amazing because I look at your videos, just like everyone's commenting here, like your filters, your videos, like just your whole little thing. If you guys will go to her feed, you probably already have, but just the week of Posh Fest, all the cute stuff that she was doing and being featured on the Poshmark site and just everything. Just the little stuff, the pictures that she takes of herself and everything. I just love everything that she's doing. I see a couple questions. Um, says, love that, Stacey. You have a beautiful heart.
Thank you.
Nikki says that is wonderful. How wonderful, Stacey. You're living such a soulful life. And yes, we're twinning. It's like and actually like we look alike, but Stacy actually is an infusion of her dad and I.
Yeah.
My youngest daughter looks almost like me. And she's the one, actually, she probably will in like 20 years because we're both going through alopecia. But my youngest, so Nia, who's 18, is totally my twin. Stacy, you can see it, but if you saw her dad, it would, you take us and we just take him on this side and just fuse us together. We're Stacy. That's where they get the hair from. They didn't get it from me. Okay, so Nikki says, can we know more about the new business you just launched?
So for I think she's talking about my styling business. So my styling business is still in like the pre stages. Like I still have to calculate like how I'm gonna charge for my services. I am taking clients at the moment, just to like test out like how I want to gauge my pricing and everything. I do want to make it affordable, but it's mostly going to be targeting. It's going to be kind of like an online styling platform. Everything's going to be like online or through like social media, and I'm basically just going to be styling like if you have like any interest in like changing up your style or like revamping like who you are, fashion wise, I definitely would love to help like people out with doing that because I have been studying a lot more fashion and things like that. So I do have the forum on my Instagram right now, and it's under the personal styling tab. But basically, it's going to be all secondhand. Trying to focus on like secondhand still, and all the outfits are going to be inspired by like what you want to cultivate your style to be. So that's basically what my personal styling is going to be about, and I'm excited to start it soon. I haven't gotten any clients yet, but I am still like in the pre stages of everything, so everything's just getting worked out at the moment.
Wonderful. So Margaret says, my uncle has a condo in Fenwick Island. I have a friend who lives in Fenwick Island. I've been here for 8 years, and I've only been to the beach once. Um, uh, Along the coast there. We've been to smaller beaches that are local, but it's nothing like the Jersey Shore. So, but it is beautiful, and that's about an hour, almost 2 hours away from here. Um, so Diana says, yes, I loved her pics during Posh Fest. I love your positive vibe and your IG.
Thank you.
Let's see. Delaware coast is amazing, not too cold like our coast up in New Hampshire. New Hampshire. Okay, so anybody have any last minute questions for Stacy? Anybody have any last questions? So how amazing has it been being my daughter, Stacy?
I mean, honestly, like I like think about it. Like I know as a kid I wouldn't think this, but like now, like reflecting back on my life and being 24, I definitely do value like how you raised us and like us moving to Delaware, like all the sacrifices that you made for us. I do value like everything because it made us who we are today. Like even though we all have our issues to some extent, we all turned out to be like really good like kids and stuff like that. So.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's one of the things is like, being a parent and a person is a challenge. And of course, children don't realize that because my mother used to tell me the same kind of stuff. I still kind of go, some of the things I still kind of go, that's just my thing. And I still am a little bit different with my children. So I can see some stuff you have to make sacrifices and things in your life. But it is a challenge when you're a parent, especially when like you're divorced from your children's parent, right? Their father. And so now you're two going on your own way, and the two people are still trying to be involved in, the children's lives. That means you have to be involved in all of that. But then you have a parent who is not involved. That becomes a challenge. That's really, for girls, they need their dad. So when a man is they're not around, that becomes a challenge. But then when your parent goes on and they meet someone else. So I always do think about it where, I met Thomas and we have to be selfish, and sometimes we don't think about our children because I didn't want to do to my children what was done to me, where we moved a lot, and then my mother had like different boyfriends and stuff, and so I kind of felt bad, but I did need something for myself. So Stacy was going to a very good school, and right at the end of her sophomore year, we moved. Same thing with my son. He went to a school all the way up to the school that all his siblings went to. It was my elementary school up into 7th grade. And so he had to move here and go into 5th grade. I mean, to 8th grade. My youngest had to go into 5th grade. She didn't know anyone. So as a parent, I had to think about myself. I thought about them. I knew the neighborhood was nice and everything, but you don't always take into account what your children are going through. Now, that being said, I always made sure, though, that they were never mistreated. I always made sure that they were not abused or talked down to in any kind of way. I would never be with someone like that. So that I tried to give them, but it is hard, that hard balance when you have teenagers and you're still trying to live your life, So like now, it really is a good place for me to be because I'm 51 and all my children are older. So every decision that I make is strictly for me. Whereas I do kind of feel bad. But then my son, Stacy just said it too, that it makes me feel good that I did make a little bit, of a decision that otherwise, because if we didn't move here, she wouldn't have met Jose, So when you think about like how life works, the place that you were, everything that led up to now, you're here now. So they weren't mistreated or anything like that. And it does make me feel a little sad. So it says, hey, I have an idea. You could have an outfit and a copied look with a reseller thrifted clothes. They do an HG mag with high-low decor. Interesting.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of influencers doing that, so I have thought about doing that as well.
Yeah, I have
it's just harder sometimes to like find the pieces and to like
really because I follow a young lady, Katie Steckley, that does that. I don't know if you watch Katie's. You would definitely love her content. Okay, everybody, where we're going to go. I am so glad that everybody showed up. Please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. If you're just stopping in to get my vibe, set a reminder for future videos. I'm loading a video every single day until the end of the month. Then my structure is going to change. Tomorrow I'll be on with Sarah Styles. Next week I'll be on with Rosalind. And I'm going to be starting something new starting next month. I may only be going live once a week because I started a new group called a Reseller's Passion Masterclass, where people from this community and all communities will be coming in and teaching something that they know. It's not a reseller group. It is a group for women to be empowered, to grow, to promote their businesses, their courses, their webinars, anything they're doing, and speak life into the community. And that's really what I'm all about. And so hopefully Stacy will join and she can come in and talk about styling and everything. So we'll be going live like this, but it'll be in the group and it'll be business structured where you can learn. And it'd be like it's a master class. So people will be coming and teaching, and then you can go in and check out their businesses and everything. So I thank everyone so much for joining. As always, continue to fail forward. If you're feeling down, if you're feeling bad, please contact someone. Everyone reach out to a friend. If you've never felt loved or appreciated, I love and appreciate you, and I validate you, friend. And as always, do the things you think that you cannot do.